Hold on tight, because this story is bigger than anything you have seen on reality TV. The drama is deeper, the betrayal is worse, and the truth is more shocking than anyone expected. You will not believe the real reason why Kirk Frost and Mendeces Harris, two major stars from the world of hip-hop and reality shows, are being pushed out of the spotlight. What caused this sudden fall? Was it just a silly mistake, or is there something darker behind it? People are now saying that something explosive is about to come out, something too hot to hide anymore. Let us take a closer look. After being fan favorites and part of the wildest episodes of Love and Hip Hop, Kirk and Mendeces were seen as the kings of drama, from cheating rumors to messy family fights. But now they are being cut off from the show that once needed their drama to survive. Why? This mystery is more serious and more scandalous than you think. You might believe that Kirk and Mendeces could handle anything. You might think they were untouchable. But things have changed. Kirk, who once played the role of the bad boy turned family man, is now in trouble again. He was involved in many cheating scandals and even had a baby mama story that made headlines. Still, he always found a way to stay popular. But this time, he and Mendeces are facing the biggest crisis of their careers. They were once the duo everyone loved to hate. For years, their names were linked to chaos. But now everything is falling apart. According to people behind the scenes, it all started with some backstage gossip. Mendeces, who turned his prison time into a comeback story, became a fan favorite too. He shared his journey of change and won many hearts. But his long-standing tension with Kirk finally exploded. Producers always wanted drama, but they were not ready for what happened next. The fight started during a Love and Hip Hop after party. It was supposed to be calm and quick, just something to do before the reunion show. But things got out of control. Mendeces allegedly said Kirk was no longer important and only had fame because of Rasheeda. Kirk got angry because he worked hard to build his name and did not want someone like Mendeces to ruin it. Tension was high, and soon the insults turned into violence. Kirk, who had been part of Love and Hip Hop from the beginning, was being accused of adding nothing new to the show. That hurt. For someone like him, who had shared his real-life struggles on camera, it felt like a personal attack. Mendeces, who had only recently come back to the spotlight, said Kirk was the reason the show was holding back. That was too much for Kirk. He could not stay silent. So, he decided to confront Mendeces in private. But things did not stay private for long. When they came face to face backstage, everything blew up. Mendeces kept mocking Kirk, and Kirk lost control. He pushed Mendeces so hard that he fell into a chair. That is when the real fight began. Security rushed in, but it was already too late. Chairs were flying, glass was breaking, and someone recorded the entire scene. The video went viral within minutes. Fans were shocked. Some blamed Kirk and called him the aggressor. Others said Mendeces had no right to insult someone who helped build the show. But no one was ready for what came next. Kirk might now face legal problems. If Rasheeda decides to freeze their shared money and property, he could lose everything. Rasheeda has not filed for divorce yet, but people say Kirk is already trying to fix things behind closed doors. But maybe it is too late. Rasheeda might be done for good this time. And if that is true, Kirk could lose more than just his career. He could lose his family too. This story is not over. In fact, it is just getting started. After that fight video spread online, the backlash was fast and harsh. People started dragging Kirk all over social media. And then came the big question, did Kirk try to fix things after the cameras turned off? Some say yes. Kirk reportedly followed Rasheeda when she left the party. He looked calm, but he was clearly upset. Witnesses say he ran after her in the parking lot, calling her name and trying to hold her arm. But Rasheeda pulled away. She got into a black SUV and drove off without saying a word, leaving Kirk standing there in shock. And it gets worse. People close to the couple say Kirk did not even go home that night. Instead, he went to Frost Bistro, the restaurant he owns with Rasheeda. He was seen drinking heavily at the bar. Even though people tried to calm him down, Kirk was not himself. He kept saying he did not do anything that bad, but the video showed everything. He was clearly grabbing Rasheeda's arm while she tried to leave. That moment said it all, and it might be the final straw. Things took a turn for the worse when Kirk began raising his voice and pointing his finger at Rasheeda's face. An insider said Kirk was heard saying, "She is overreacting. I did not even do anything that bad." But instead of calming down, things only got messier from there. Kirk allegedly started making phone calls that night, and guess what? Sources claimed that less than an hour later, a mysterious woman arrived at Frost Bistro after Kirk was seen texting someone. That woman was none other than Jasmine Washington, the same woman who had Kirk's child in 2017. Back then, her presence nearly tore Kirk and Rasheeda's marriage apart and turned their relationship into a public circus. Now, Jasmine was back. Multiple people said they saw her sit right next to Kirk at the bar. They spoke for over an hour. One witness even said Jasmine was gently touching Kirk's shoulder while whispering in his ear, and Kirk was laughing like nothing was wrong. Think about this. Would a loyal husband really be hanging out with the same woman who once caused so much pain, just hours after seeing his wife at a public event? Of course, someone told the media. And soon after, Kirk and Jasmine were seen leaving the place together. The photos were shocking. Kirk had his arm around Jasmine, leading her to his car while she smiled like she had just won something. The pictures went viral the very next morning on TMZ, The Shade Room, and Hollywood Unlocked. And yes, Rasheeda saw them too. But this time, things got serious. Close sources said Rasheeda had already started meeting with a well-known divorce lawyer. And if you know about their finances, you know this is huge. Kirk and Rasheeda own Press Boutique and Frost Bistro together. They also have other properties. If Rasheeda walks away, Kirk might lose everything. Rasheeda has proof. People close to her said she has spent years collecting records of Kirk's shady money moves, credit card charges at expensive hotels, wire transfers to unknown accounts, and even payments made to Jasmine and other women. And now, with Kirk's latest actions caught on camera, Rasheeda is going into full damage control mode. Kirk has been trying to reach her ever since. He is texting her nonstop and even showing up at her store without any warning. But Rasheeda is not answering. She has blocked him on Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and everywhere else. Meanwhile, Jasmine is now talking. In a private interview, she claimed that Kirk promised to take care of her financially, and he was doing it using money from his shared accounts with Rasheeda. Jasmine said, "This is about to blow up Kirk's whole world." Rasheeda, on the other hand, has been calm on social media. She has not said anything directly, but she has been posting quiet messages like one that said, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them." Kirk is scared. Not just about Rasheeda, but about everything. He knows this one mistake could destroy everything he built. And it does not stop here. After the fight with Mendices, things got worse. Word spread fast, and people in the industry started turning their backs. There were even reports that both Kirk and Mendices were being pushed out of reality TV for good. A close friend said Kirk was heartbroken and said, "I built my name. I am not going to let them erase me from TV history. Their once strong careers are now hanging by a thread." The damage from the fight was just too much. Many insiders believe they may never be allowed back on TV again. And this is not just about a fight anymore, it is about trust. If Kirk and Mendices cannot stay calm, how can the producers trust them again? It is risky for the networks. And then came the final blow, confirmation that they had been blacklisted. A source said, "They are too much trouble. Too many enemies. We are not going to work with them again." As the weeks passed, Kirk and Mendices had to face the truth. The same drama that made them famous was now tearing their careers apart. Their power was fading. The blacklist was real. And now, people were only waiting for the next scandal. What happens next? Can Kirk and Mendices bounce back from this? Will they try to build their own platform? Or is this really the end of their time on reality TV? One thing is clear, Kirk is not giving up. After feeling betrayed and left behind, he made one thing very clear to his closest friends. He said, "I am not going out like this. I worked too hard to let one mistake destroy everything." Right away, he called his lawyer. He wants to file a legal complaint, claiming he was unfairly removed. Kirk said, "I helped build this show. Without me, there is no show." He is now focused on telling his side of the story. He wants people to understand that this is not just about fame, it is about his legacy. He said, "They used me for years, and now they want to erase me. That is not going to happen." And that is where the story stands for now. Mendices was not just watching from the sidelines, he was fighting too, just in a different way than Kirk. Mendices understood the game. He knew how to protect what belonged to him. He had always been a fighter, so giving up was never an option for him. Instead of going to court, Mendices took a different path. He went online and started speaking to his fans. He wanted people to know that he would not stay quiet and that he was still standing strong. But getting removed from one show was nothing compared to being pushed out of the entire reality TV industry. That was something else entirely. For someone who had built his name on television and in the public eye, this felt like being completely erased. During one emotional live session on Instagram, Mendices shared his pain. With a shaky voice, he said, "I have been through so much." His wife Yandy was by his side, just like always. She supported him through everything. "I have been separated from my family," he said. "I have fought battles no one even knows about. And now this." Yandy looked straight at the camera and told their fans, "We always come out on top. We are not giving up." But behind closed doors, Mendices was scared. One evening, while sitting quietly with Yandy, he leaned in and said, "I do not know if we will make it through this." Yandy did not flinch. She looked ahead with focus in her eyes. She was already thinking about what to do next. She knew it would not be easy, but she also believed in their power. "We still have something that no network can take away," she said. "We have our fans. We have our story. And we have our strength. We will find a new way." Even though Yandy stayed hopeful, both Mendices and Kirk had to face the truth. No network wanted to work with them. After the fight, after the backlash from fans, and after the complaints from sponsors, they were left out in the cold. No one answered their emails. No one returned their calls. It was like they were completely shut out. And just when they thought things could not get worse, more rumors started to spread. People began saying that Kirk and Mendices were not just removed, they were officially blacklisted. One night, Mendices looked at Yandy and softly said, "I am done. No more television. I guess this is really the end." But Yandy refused to let him quit. She held his hand and said, "No, this is not the end. We will not disappear. If they do not want us on their platform, we will create our own. We do not need them. We have fans. We have something to say. And we are not finished yet." Some fans were heartbroken. They felt the industry had turned its back too quickly. One person said online, "Kirk and Mendices helped make love and hip-hop what it is today. And now they are being treated like they are nothing." But not everyone agreed. Some people felt it was the natural result of bad choices. "You cannot just put your hands on someone and expect there to be no consequences," one comment said. What started as a personal fight had now turned into a big public mess. It was no longer just a heated moment or a small argument. It had become something much more serious. Now it was about how the world saw them. It was about their names, their reputations, and everything they had worked so hard to build over the years. The drama had gone beyond just gossip or entertainment. This time, the damage was deep, and it felt like the world had completely turned its back on them. Kirk and Mendices were not just facing angry comments from fans or a few bad headlines. They were facing something worse: silence. The people who used to support them, offer them shows, and celebrate their fame were now nowhere to be found. The phone stopped ringing. Messages were not answered. Meetings were canceled without a word. The same producers who once depended on them were now acting like they did not exist at all. It was painful. These two men had given so much to reality television. They had shared their lives, their families, their struggles, and their successes with the world. They had let the cameras into their personal space because they believed in their journey. But now it felt like none of that mattered anymore. Still, they were not ready to give up. Even when everything around them felt cold and distant, they kept trying to hold on. They wanted to protect their careers, their names, and their pride. Deep down, they knew who they were. And even though things had changed, they were not ready to be forgotten. They still had something left to fight for. But even in this dark time, there was one light that kept shining Yandy. She stood beside Mendices through it all, reminding him of who he really was. She told him, again and again, this is not the last time the world will hear from us. Her words were not just comforting. They were a promise. Yandy and Mendices were not ready to disappear. Even though doors were closing all around them, they had already started thinking about what to do next. They knew that the world had changed, and the only way to move forward was to change with it. They needed to grow. They needed to rise. And most of all, they needed to fight not with anger or hate, but with strength, creativity, and love for what they do. They started making plans quietly. Not for revenge, but for a fresh start. They wanted to build something new. Something that would not depend on anyone else. Something their fans could support and believe in. They were not going to let one bad chapter end their whole story. Both men were deeply hurt, but they were not broken. Mendices knew that his journey was not over. Kirk, too, was thinking hard about how to prove himself again. They still had followers. They still had a voice. They still had each other. Even though they were facing rejection, they remembered why they started in the first place. It was never just about fame. It was about telling stories, about showing real life, and about staying true to who they were. And that part of them was still alive. As Yandy said with full confidence, this is only the beginning of a new chapter. And that is exactly what they were about to write. This is the powerful and emotional journey of two of the most well-known faces in reality TV, Kirk Frost and Mendices. Once on top, now blacklisted, they are trying to find their place again. The big question is, can they succeed with their own show? Or is this truly the end of their time in reality TV? Tell us what you think. Do you support Kirk or Mendices? Or do you think they both made mistakes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated with every twist and turn of this drama, make sure to like this post, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. There is so much more to this story, and trust me, you will not want to miss what happens next.